catalyst slash everything else. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later because we're going into the draft between Blacklist International going up against Echo, where both teams know each other so well. Let's look at the bans.
Off the bat, I'm really wondering what kind of particular bans are going to come out. And for Echo, they seem very targeted. And for the side of Blacklist, you can say it's targeted, but for the most part, you can still say it's just textbook, right? As the Joy here gets banned as well from the side of Echo.
Yeah, looking at the bans coming in from Echo, because again, as a first pick, you can dictate the draft. You can start the momentum, you can start the tempo, because the draft that they've been banning out is, sure, strong picks, but also signaling whatever lineup that they have might have a backline that will not be able to survive when getting engaged by a Benedetta or a Joy.
Yeah, and I guess both teams understand that the front to back isn't as simple anymore in the current metagame, right? You're afraid of heroes like Glue, which is still open. Woo! You're afraid of heroes like Ling in the right hands. So with that being said, I'm guessing this first pick has to play with either the box concept or drawing lines to counter that.
I think for sure that's been a recurring theme, right? 3 very solid frontliners and long distance, long range from the back. There seems to be a formula that has been very popular in the current meta. But for Echo right here, they go for the Eve, trying to get some utility, some range as well. It can be used to zone marksman, but we'll have to see if Blacklist has an answer for it. The open glue, as Leo mentioned, has been picked up, along with a Claude.
All right, so right now, looking at the draft, picking up the Eve first is kind of safe, kind of risky as well, because the Eve is very strong in terms of damage, as well as the utility. And before we even talk more about the draft, Benny Cutie, a quote here, I'm not the best gold laner in the world because I don't have an MPL trophy or any other title, so I won't admit it before I win the title on this M4. Strong words from Benny Cutie, where he's like, I'm not gonna feel comfortable until I win.
But again, he can say that he's not the best, but he's one of the best, given that the Storm has weathered most challenges. He's been in the league, he's been a pro player for years now, and he's still here, he's redeeming himself, he's proven the haters wrong.
I mean, in my personal experience, it doesn't matter what we say, it matters what other people understand. So he doesn't have a say of whether he's the best or not. Other people decide. But going back into the draft, where Echo, they have gotten the Fredrin as well as the Harif. As of now, not a lot of room for flex. Sure, the Fredrin can be flexed, but for now, Echo, I would say kind of a lineup that we've been seeing a lot.
And the Harith here, we've seen that it's very effective in the right situations, right? Mobility and survivability from the kit. But honestly, against a lot of beefy members, it does seem like it doesn't lack that hyper DPS in that late game. Although for Blacklist, this is a very quite the early Diggy pick, and we haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah, okay, so right now, looking at the draft, because we have to look at the first 3 picks for both teams, because from Echo, they have a pretty strong front to back with the Eve as well as the Fredrin. Putting people in the box, make it easy for Harif to actually engage and go in. Now, Blacklist International, they're answering the first 3 picks with a Diggy. Now, we got to think about this. Is the Diggy being used to apply pressure early in the gold lane, or is it really to make sure when it comes to the team fights, the team is going to be safe?
Yes, and they are going to go for a re-engage lineup. And what does a re-engage lineup hate? When they don't control when they go in or out, and that's why they're banning the Franco.
Ooh, Franco ban right here just to ensure that Blacklist can take their fights on their own terms, and of course denying maybe like the forced usage of the time journey. So far, it just seems like a very solid composition, and if they pair it with a solid backline, it's going to be pretty secure, at least on paper. But considering that they have a Claude in their lineup, it's going to be a bit weird deciding where the team as a whole wants to move, right? Do they want to go forward into danger or actually backing away from it?
This is kind of good because they're going to keep Echo guessing, and I feel like the Diggy pick has confidence here just because you see the Fredrin and you're assuming the Fredrin is a jungle, because as a Diggy you can apply a lot of pressure by putting your alarm bombs. It doesn't feel good going up against like an assassin jungler that can kill the Diggy over and over and over again, making the Diggy really not that strong. And because the Valentina has been banned, the Grok has been banned as well. Kind of feeling like they don't want too much of an engage coming in from Echo.
And by that, the Orcas are slowly cornering Wise into a pick of their choosing, right? Well, what's left here for Wise to pick up? Because the usual suspects are out. If anything, they might be forcing the jungle Guinevere, which we last saw in the grand final stage of MPL.
a lot of options, honestly. Even if we go back, the Nakai is still available, the Baxia is still available. So there is a lot. Good or bad is really up for debate.
Exactly, especially with how the meta has progressed, you can't really guarantee that these picks that worked quite a long while ago can still be as effective. Because maybe the exact reason why it hasn't been picked up is because teams have been solving that puzzle already. But here we go, we've got a bit of a sneak peek from the phone. It's going to be a Baxia, and that's going to be a very fast composition coming in from the side of Blacklist.
That's a deep cut, right? I said go back to MPL Philippines Season 10, and then we will go back to like what, Season 8?
It's almost like I'm an analyst.
Whoa.
Like I know what's gonna happen. But yeah, the Diarov has been picked up, so now Blacklist International, they gotta really prepare what's gonna happen, because with the Diarov, a lot of the armor that they already have is gonna be shredded. So Echo, with this current lineup, if they want, they could really go aggressive. They could just like pick up a Cho and then just like, I don't care what you guys are gonna do, we're just gonna force the issue.
You either pop the time's journey now or you suffer the consequences. I like it. It's a proactive way of solving the problem.
That's certainly a way to deal with the time journey, just force them to keep using it. And now I think they were expecting perhaps something, I don't know, they wanted to just pressure you in the jungle. So the Hilda, it's a very annoying pick. And, you know, considering how fast and how pick-orientated Blacklist composition is right now, having a Hilda in the front is going to be such a chore for Blacklist to deal with.
It's also a swerve. And now going into the hands of Haji, of course, this is the Imam special. That's a savior. So far, I'm liking it. If there's anything missing from Blacklist is that early game velocity. Like, they're going to have to wait until Echo makes a mistake and makes an opening, and then they can ramp up.
I mean, like you said, looking at the drive, looks like Blacklist, they want to re-engage. And I kind of feel like if your comp scales well and you have ways to answer a dive, that is a very good drive, because looking at Echo, that's what they want to do. Sasage, they want to charge, they want to fight, and they want to make sure they apply enough pressure to Blacklist International. So now with the draft, where both teams, in terms of team fight, they're pretty solid. In terms of what they want to do is very different. So about the execution, can Echo execute it well, or Blacklist deny the engages?
It just seems like this is a speed against power, because Blacklist will be around the map really, really quick. Again, with that Baxia, with the fast clearing, with the shield unity. But for Echo right here, when they want to go for a kill, that's a lot of burst damage at their disposal.
With that being said, let's start the first game between Echo and Blacklist International.
All the way in the beginning, we do see that the Demon Slayer emblem is what both junglers try and go for. They want to get that quick clear in the early game particularly, and in that mid lane, there's going to be a bit of a showdown for sure. Both of these mages, they have like decent clear, but as far as how they impact the side lanes, it's a bit different, right? They need to try and get a bit of help, especially from the jungler or the roamer, before they can actually have that kind of impact.
Yep, slight advantage here for Sanji, given that Haji has to work on his stacks, has to make sure that the savior scales up. But down bottom, it looks like it's a deadlock, because both are able to clear the wave fast enough and then rotate.
We got to talk about the goal lane as well. So the Diggy is going to apply pressure here onto the Harif. So Yaoi, I want to see whether he decides to help out Manicutie in the goal lane, or he's going to try to apply pressure in the jungle, which kind of doesn't need to, because going up against the Baxia, like, why?
Exactly. Usually the Hilda is being used against assassins just to be that oppressive presence, especially in the early game where the passive is just so annoying to deal with. But now, it seems like Echo is using Yaoi on the Hilda to actually deal with the Diggy pressure, because that shielding is casting all the damage. But look at Oheb, taken very, very low.
Close call. Oheb at about 1/10 of his health. Here comes Wise, bumping right into Yaoi. Oh my Venus. Looking for that reverse time. Does not catch it.
Right now, I'm looking at this, and it does look like Echo, they're trying to find the angles, the way that they can start the early aggression. So I want to see if they apply more pressure onto Oheb, because again, as a Claude, before level 4, you don't have a lot of way to clear the minions, so it's very, very punishing to die at like, what, level 3?
Yeah, the wave clear is definitely a big issue, especially against a Diggy that's just constantly trying to actually do some damage, do some poke damage. But with all the members, with 4 at least, 4 people in total in the top side, it doesn't seem like Echo is going for the turtle, but Blacklist is trying to contest it.
Yep, Wise looking for it. Sanford spots him. There's the box by Sagi. Real revelation. Turtle scared by Carl, and Sanji takes down Wise.
When we look at this lineup, this is what we were predicting. Echo, they're gonna start the charge. They're the one that is gonna say, I'm gonna have tempo. And Blacklist, they gotta answer this by not dying a lot. And now Rashi, looking at the items, anything that we have to pay attention to.
It does seem like Sanji is going straight for the Enchanted Talisman. With how he's performing, he's going to be using a lot of mana, so it makes a lot of sense. Later on, there'll be a bit more damage being built on his side, but oh my Venus almost gets taken out as Oheb now just goes face-to-face against Yaoi. But he is still on the tank emblem, so tanky, doing a decent amount of damage, especially in the early game, making the best use of that Hilda.
Well, now we got to talk about the Hilda, but before that, Sanford and Edward 1v1. Is there really going to be any big traits here? I don't think so. But on top, Oheb goes down.
Oh no, and the box wasn't even there, so this is just the pure raw power of a Hilda.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about that as well, Arashi, where a Hilda pressuring, sure, but pressuring the goal lane. How does Yaoi do this? Like, what is he really taking advantage of?
He's just taking advantage of the fact that Blacklist doesn't really want to stay and be passive in the lane, so he just stays around there and just keeps moving in and out of vision. And, you know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But the point is, he's being a disruptive force, just taking away the focus of Blacklist from the rest of the map.
Sanji
Look at that!
gets a 1v1 question mark, and
Whoa.
there's bodies falling for Blacklist all across the map. V and Wise taken down 3 for none, 5-0 scoreboard.
5-0, 2K goal difference, and in my map, Oheb goes in against Benny Cutie. Will this be a good idea?
Summon Force put in underneath the turret. Oheb very low. Carl Easy gets the kill, flanked him from the back line. Oh my Venus falls as well. LaFell, you were saying?
Now, I'm just saying right now, 7-0, 2.4. In my opinion, if you're a scaling composition, you don't want to lose more than 2,000 gold, and now it's 2.6 in the first 4 minutes.
Echo, man, they just find their power spikes, and once they felt they had an opportunity, every single member just went for the 1v1 plays all over the map, and at the same time, 3 members from Blacklist gets taken out. That is not ideal at all, and now with that pressure, Echo will be going for the neutral objective, and according to the pattern, they're going to try and take some turrets.
That's a free turtle. LaFell, that 2K threshold, can we call it the LaFell threshold? Because that's essentially what sets apart good teams when they can read that situation.
Hey, if anything can be named after me, I'm gonna take it. And now it's 3K. Looking at the items here, looking at Blacklist, the only one that has completed the item is Wise on this box here with the Radiant Armor. Is it enough, Arashi, for them to kind of negate some of the attacks coming in from Echo?
Well, they can negate some damage, especially from Harith as well as the Yve, but I mean, Yaoi on the Hilda is still doing a massive amount of damage, and don't forget, this Dyrod, Sanford on this Dyrod is actually one of the main counters for Wise, so the Radiant Armor will not be helping in that department.
Oh, Venus already committing the flicker. Carl Deasy gets a beat on the Queen, and Appraiser's Wrath taking down the Diggy. Second, make that third death for the Roamer.
And right now, Blacklist, they have nothing to answer. They gotta slow it down. Oheb just completed his Demon Hunter sword, and Wise tries to do it, but he can't do anything. 4 members on the Wise.
He's cornered here. 3 members make that 4 Wise. Chrono, Fissure. Oh no, there's the box. BMI out. 1 down. They're just doing damage control here. Blacklist.
Blacklist is getting corralled, getting cut off from their base, and honestly, Echo is just making the best use of this early game pressure, and they're not done just yet.
Oh, Sanford flickering on out. They catch Edward. Here comes the cavalry. Oheb with a blazing duet on out of dodge. Lightning and thunder pushing away Echo.
Right now, looking at the situation, Blacklist International, they're very comfortable of playing from behind, trying to wait it out, trying to make sure they fight at equal ground. But now, I gotta ask you, Arashi, Blacklist, realistically, what can they do to stop the bleeding?
They need to try and just prepare the crowd control, stick together, but the problem is for Echo right now, every single member, generally the main carries, can't go for those solo kills yet again. So if they just stick together, yeah, maybe they can avoid getting killed, but then Echo will just start destroying them in the macro gameplay, in the rotations, in the vision game, and that is not ideal either.
Oh, Edward catches one. Here comes the RWM. Diggy, oh my Venus with the Time's Journey. They take out Sanford first. Where was the damage? Amazing play by Blacklist. They get a pick off, but oh, they pay the price. Down goes Oh My Venus. They're gonna collapse down onto Edward, and he goes for the split. Split is off a cooldown. Rides on to Carl Teasy, puts him in a compromised position. Here comes Wise. Still he get his purple buff. Yowie making space. Edward getting pulled in. Wise still here as well. Benny Cutie summon force. Where's Edward going? Goes on through the wall. Suffers a death. The storm is here, and they disengage. Oh, they find Haji. Will they find him? Will they get him? Oh, RWM one more time. Sanji, his team fight's going on forever.
It's just 7 minutes, but the damage coming in from Echo is so much, and Wise, he's gonna get taken down.
Oh, Dawning Light unable to save those two in mid. Be Wise fall underneath tier 1.
3 members down despite the best efforts from Blacklist to try and control the damage. It's just so much burst coming in from the side of Echo, and look at that. There's nowhere to save.
They're not done. Carteezy finds him in the back line. Sanji with the Void Crystal. Pop in Oheb. And now Edward and Oh My Venus finding sanctuary underneath tier 2.
This explosiveness is controlling Blacklist International. Looking at the items right now, the Xavier only having the Clock of Destiny really won't deal out that much damage. And the Claude, 8 minutes in, only with the Demon Hunter sword. Blacklist right now in this game is looking very one-sided. Arashi and Oh My Venus has to use the ultimate to get out of the RWM.
I mean, Sanji right here with the Ice Queen's wand. Just popping that alone is enough threat for Blacklist to just react with so many skills. And on top of that, Benny Cutie is supposed to be a late game hero. He has so much damage right now.
Oh, it's a full-on engage. Haji very low. Oh, Appraiser's Wrath puts him at 1 HP. Grandma! Sanford finishes him off through the wall. Now it's Edward in the front line. Split. Yowie cordoning off the rest of Blacklist as they go for this purple buff steal. It's calm for now, but Echo are just pummeling on through Blacklist jungle straight to the Lord.
Right now, I honestly, Leo, I gotta ask you, because Blacklist, 7,000 gold down. Should they be getting any kind of view of getting a comeback? Who is it going to come from? Is it going to come from Haji, Oheb? Who's going to make that comeback happen?
In that sentence alone, they went up another 1,500. Right?
Oh, wow.
It's at 9 now almost. So I'm guessing if it's up to me and if it's something that I've seen before, given my history with Blacklist, it's got to come from Haji. So again, protect Haji at all costs and protect the map.
I have to agree with that statement, man. Haji is the one with the wave clear. Haji is the one that later on, I guess, can just do a lot of poke damage with a Dawning Light. So I think he's a big factor. And if Echo still goes with his aggressive style, he's the one with the Mystic Field that can stop a lot of this playmaking. But look at that. It's so aggressive coming in from Echo.
Oh, look at the angle that Yowie and Carl are drawing. Concealed play by Yowie. Disengages, pushes them away, allowing Culties to steal the orange.
Right now, Echo, they're really pushing hard because Lord is coming up top. They're pushing Blacklist away from the turrets. They're taking it one by one, almost a 10,000 goal lead. Oh My Venus as well as Oheb, they are at half HP. They can't even handle the range, the siege coming in from Echo.
Oh, there's the RWM keeping down Oh My Venus, forcing the Time's Journey. Lord swinging away, shield popped, and the inhibitor up top, and they're still going. Sanji swiping, tapping. Edward taking care of that wave in mid. Echo disengages.
Man, that poke damage coming in from Sanji is just brutal, man. With the glowing wand right here, every instance of damage is getting buffed, and even the tankiest member, like Edward, will just start suffering from that percentage HP damage. Taking a look at the items, Oheb has the golden staff, but is it too little too late? If you compare him to Benny Cutie right now, that's a lot of true damage.
Oh no! Right underneath that inhibitor, they take down Haji, blazing the way by Oheb, but it's a little too late. They're gonna take it down. Another RWM. Yowie very low, still gets out, has an immortality. No casualties from Echo. Blacklist can't punish.
Yeah, Blacklist can't punish because, again, a difference of like 1.5 items right now between Echo and Blacklist. Like, that is
Per hero,
mind you. So now, like, the deficit is like so big. Even I'm asking myself, is this really comebackable?
The gold difference is almost at 1k gold per minute, man. It is insane, the tempo that Echo is pushing onto Blacklist. And despite their best efforts, even now, the jungle is just never really a safe place. And the only time Blacklist can come out is when Echo pulls back. But even that might be a trap, because that means there's a longer distance that Echo can just run Blacklist through, right? Just chasing them all the way with the slows, with the crowd control. And it's a nightmare for Blacklist right now.
Good news, bad news. There's a push by Oheb in the bottom lane. Bad news is, as soon as Echo takes this Lord here, it's Luminous, 12 minutes past, it's going to be harder to rely on Haji. It's going to be difficult for Imam alone to be the insurance policy, because they can't stay in their base alone, because Echo's going to keep coming.
If anyone asks us again, like, what is a snowball, I kind of feel like this game is the definition of a snowball, taking a small lead up in the gold lane and then translate it all over the map. 11,000 gold difference. Blacklist, oh my Venus, using the Diggy is good at protecting the backline, but it's not tanky. The items as well is built on utility mage items, so he can't tank the damage. The only one that can is Wise and Edward, but at this point, it doesn't look like it's enough.
It is an Impure Wrath Diggy, so it's supposed to actually do a lot of poke damage, but against a Hilda, against a Fredrin, it's just not enough, and now Echo make the deciding play.
Oh wow, Sanji with the Void Crystal alone forces Haji underneath the base. They're gonna force the issue here. Lord swinging away at the base. Tier 3 turrets, inhibitors in bottom, very low. Mid as well, compromised. There's a wave crashing on through. Blacklist holding on.
Right now.
Oh, there's an RWM forcing out the Time's Journey. Wise coming in. Oheb with that blazing duet. He's very low. Yawi gets the kill. Down goes the Filipino sniper. Yawi gets his immortality pop with a Salmon Force. Haji goes down. They're going to swing away. Oh my Venus popped here by the back line. Edward takes down Yawi. Wise very low. Can Sanji finish the job? The answer is no. It's up to Edward now. He's down as well. It's just Wise. Echo takes game 1. Cannot expect anything less than that, because that's what's worked for Blacklist for the longest time.
With that being said, we're going into the draft of game number 2, Echo against Blacklist International, where we saw or heard from our analysts it was a game 1 by the draft. So let's go into this draft, Rashi.
Off the bat, you see a bit of difference coming in here. Echo was banning the Benedetta Farsa and Joy, so it's still the same for them. Oh, and actually, it's almost the same ban coming in from the side of Blacklist, but they've banned Yves as well, fearing the long-range setup coming in from Sanji.
With the Fredrin first pick here, what does this really tell us? Because they're letting go of the Kaja. The Glue, sure, is a very strong hero, but 48% win rate. I don't know, like, Leo, what do you think about this Fredrin over Kaja pick?
I think this is both an answer and an adjustment from Blacklist International. Again, I did say I think they might let Wise pick up in the second phase, but we've seen Wise play Kaja jungle already.
Oh yeah, no, that is actually quite a good point. I mean, we can debate all day which is better, you know, Kaja and Roam. Some people might be a little bit cheeky and put it in the EXP. The jungle, I don't know, I kind of like with the Glue as well as the Kaja, because it gives option for Coach Boncha to kind of like move things around if needed.
I mean, I think it's a great improvement already, because now Blacklist has a strong laner. And of course, if it does go into the XP lane in the hands of Edward, that is a very dominant lane, and that can be one of the main pillars of support that can be used for Blacklist to try and make plays around. But off the bat, the Diggy pick has come out yet again.
So Diggy pick here, this 100% confirmed, this is Wise on the Kaja, or is there still room for it to go somewhere else?
There is room for it to go to somewhere else. We still don't know if this could possibly be a mid-Diggy.
True.
But you don't want to waste those mechanical skills and those tactical split-second decisions that Haji can make. So yeah, it's more likely that this remains a jungle Kaja, and then you give something else to Haji. So yeah, look, again, this is iteration, right? You take away the Franco from game 1, and then you take away the Hilda from Yawi.
I mean, here's the thing, right? The Diggy people don't really expect it, but the Diggy actually deals a lot of damage, because even in the previous game, out of everyone, the one that dealt the most damage is Oh My Venus. Now we gotta look at Oheb, where he said, I think I want to face all of the teams, because if we want to be champions, we should fight every team.
Ooh, that's a bold statement for sure, but now he is on the signature pick. It's gonna be that Filipino sniper coming out strong again. Of course, we saw that it was very flexible, very strong in the right situations. But looking at the composition from the side of Echo, can Blacklist protect the Beatrix long enough? Because it seems like they're still going for that aggressive playstyle.
And I just want to say it now. I'm loving the energy of the crowd. It feels good hearing the cheers for both teams. But yes, right now Sanford again getting the dire off, and they're going to finish off the draft with an Estes, but not for Blacklist, for Echo.
So if this is indeed the Rome Estes, then that means Yawi is growing. He's practicing his mind off.
Thank you very much. Nice if you're watching. We love you. And hey, you know what? If you want to be world champions, you can't stay in one box.
Yeah.
You gotta grow.
Yes.
You gotta push barriers. You gotta push walls.
Yes.
You gotta be like a construction worker and keep on working on.
Yes. And with that being said, the lineup for Blacklist is so much clearer now. Again, I told y'all, iteration, not innovation. Did they give a few different picks at the different spots, and eventually they end up with a lineup that might work.
So change, but change a bit, not change totally. How does this make you feel, Arashi?
I feel like from a pure front-to-back consideration, I feel like Blacklist isn't as strong, but this lineup now, this composition gives them a lot more tools to work around with. If they need a bit more poke damage, they have that. They have a good variation in damage, physical and magical, and they also have the possibility to try and go for a front-to-back or a pick-off kind of gameplay depending on what is going on in the game. So I think flexibility is a very dangerous weapon, and Blacklist has shown that they can use it to its full potential.
Right now, the camera is moving around, looking at the crowd, looking at Blacklist agents, cheering on their team with the energy coming from the crowd. We're going into game number 2, Echo against Blacklist International.
This is going to be a very interesting game because momentum is definitely on the side of Echo. And if you take a look at the items, Benny Cutie going with a killing spree on that Claude, a very aggressive option that we do not see that often.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since we last saw that. That means they're going for the throw. They're going to go quick here. Looking at the buff starts, it's diagonal. It's a clear mirror because orange for one and then purple for the other.
I mean, looking at, because we're talking about the emblems. If you're having a killing spree, I kind of feel like you are understanding. Hold on, before that, Edward against Sanford. I'm watching. Is this going to be a clear-cut kill of a 1v1? So far, they're just poking each other.
There's going to be a difference maker. In comes Sanji with the flicker pull. Not enough burst, not yet.
Oof. That's a flicker being used by Sanji so early on. And again, you can just see the tempo that Echo wants to play at, but that roam will cost them. Blacklist already trying to punish that maneuver, and they might just go for Sanji right here.
Oh, there's too many strings on this map. Sanji very low. Wise puts him very low and just straight down under. That's Wise trying first blood.
Yeah, this time Blacklist, they're starting off strong. They're like, we're going to invade your jungle. If you rotate, we're going to stay here in mid. But over here, Wise, already level 4. Does he want to look for another kill for himself?
Well, they see nobody in that lane, so Wise will be just clearing out the lane, trying to push that lead everywhere else. That is the pressure gameplay that we see being used in the current meta. But now with the S's in the mid lane, it is a bit of a contrast, but look at the damage coming in towards Venus.
This has to be some different build on Yawi because that's what popped in. Now Caldeezy coming in and a full Shadow Stampede putting Haji into the ground. That's 1-1 at 2 minutes.
A good answer coming in mid, getting the return kill now, equalizing 1-1. The turtle just spawned, and looks like Echo, they're going straight for the turtle. Looking at the position from Blacklist International, they're not gonna contest at all. So right now, Blacklist, they got some lead in the mid just now. What is the next step? What is Blacklist looking at now that Wise is level 5, already having the Divine Judgment?
They need to go for pickoff, and if they want to try and use Haji as the main tool, they have to try and shut down Sanji as well. Although the fact that Sanji's on the Paramis, that's a bit more of a utility hero, but in the EXP lane though, again, constant fighting from both these players.
Yeah, no, it's furious, and it's fast, and it's relentless. They're still going. Sanford, very low, flickering on out, saving his life.
Love watching the EXP lane. It's a battle, but now Wise here getting caught by Caldeezy.
Appraiser's Wrath, very little damage. Here comes everything. Biru's Passion, taking down Yawi. That's a clear take for Blacklist, about 500 gold ahead.
Echo has so much sustainability, but against the early damage coming in from that Beatrix, it just was not enough. So Yaoi was eventually taken down due to that burst damage.
Oh.
And look at that Dawning Light, man. That is some accuracy from the side of Haji. And Blacklist now have the tempo, have a small gold lead, but considering what Game 1 looked like, this is way more than enough. You take a look at a bit of the items here. Clock of Destiny is trying to be built by Haji, but in the XP lane, still yet another fight.
Oh, Edward versus Carl TZ. The rest of Echo versus Black in mid. They're still going. Welcome back to the 1v1 down bottom, and both disengage.
The 1v1 that lasts almost forever. Looking at how things are going on, it's just like everyone's just testing their power. How much damage I can put out. Edward going at Sanford.
Abysm Strike taken down. Edward took a few more basics underneath that tier 1, but Sanford gets it.
This Direwolf pick, man, is just dangerous. It does so well against all these tanky heroes that has been slowly but surely gaining favor in the current meta. But now Blacklist crowd around the top side trying to make sure that they shut down Danny.
This is a 2v3. They pop the Blazing Duet early as well as Yaoi's ult, but that's fine. Blacklist disengages down bottom. It's a 3v none. Might as well be a free turtle. Echo takes 100% so far, 4 minutes in.
Right now, looking at how Blacklist, they're moving around, Wise is farming, so he's usually alone. So even if he catches someone, there's not going to be anyone to really back it up. So it almost looks like Blacklist, they're like, you know what, fine, we're not going to contest anything in the river. We're going to try to put all our investments in the gold lane.
Oh, and the gold lane is looking mighty tight. It's crowded up here. It's a 4v4. They've left Sanford and Edward down bottom, and they both disengage. A minute and a half until the next turtle.
I can't help but feel that Wise has been farming a lot more diligently, and yes, it's good for him, but he's not making use of that pick of potential coming in from the Divine Judgment. In these fights, in these dive attempts towards Benny Cutie, that Divine Judgment would have been a very valuable tool in ensuring that they can just go for the kills.
You're right. After hitting level 4 at about the minute and a half mark, Wise only used DJ maybe twice, tops.
Yeah, because right now, when can he actually use it? Because the way that Echo is moving around, they're not really giving a lot of opportunities. And as I say that, Carl TZ is trying to put pressure onto Oh My Venus.
Oh.
That being said, Oheb shoots in between.
I wonder if that's the idea, right? Use these utility tools defensively and rely on the long range. They have a Diggy, they have a Beatrix and a Savior as well, so they can just keep poking and use the Divine Judgment as a protective tool instead, just to ensure that the Blazing Duet can be cancelled, that Sanford diving can be cancelled. But look, honestly, there's just so much violence in this EXP lane, man.
Yep, even if Sanford walks away with his life, I give that win to Edward. He sent him home.
Right now, I kind of feel like Blacklist, they really don't want to go anywhere else. It's like, you guys try. And Carl TZ coming from the side.
Oh, he puts a few beads onto Oh My Venus. Bombs away by Oheb. That's an ult from Bennett. Carl TZ at about half health. They disengage.
Now we'll be able to sustain him back up, and this is the problem. Blacklist has a lot of poke damage, but Echo also has a good amount of sustain. So unless Blacklist can somehow get a finish, right, get the kill outright, the SS is going to be a huge problem. But look at that!
Oh, Sanford commits the flicker, but thinks twice about taking down Haji. He sends him home. Now the turtle fight. Oh, there's a great pull by Blacklist. Very, very low. Oh, and bombs away. Cartesi coming in with the retribution. Wise dashes on out. Cyclone Eye. Shades of Season 4.
Right now, I kind of feel like if we're going to look at items, Blacklist, they really need to make sure Oh My Venus has that concealed, because it looks like it's so difficult to engage onto Echo. But Echo, they have no problem engaging.
5, make that Season 5, the Cyclone Eye. But now, up top, oh no, in mid. Sanford gets Edward on him. Yo, this fight has gone from bottom to mid. Now it's not done. Carl TZ was Haji, very low. Edward caught between Yaoi and Sanji. Carl TZ knocks up one. There's the ult by OM. Nibiru's passion. Will they force it? There's the ult by Yaoi. And there's the pull by Wise. Divine Judgment onto Sanji. There's no cult altar, folks. They disengage. Both teams very good at making decisions. They're going to force this tier 1 in mid. Wise pulled back in. He's going to get out. And there's a time's journey. Queen V saves the jungler.
Ooh, close call for the side of Blacklist, but Echo right now has so much more damage to work around with. If you guys have noticed, Benny Cutie has finished his golden staff at well before 7 minutes. So this is a very scary claw just scaling up despite having this very aggressive emblem. Now looking at the actual items here, Vincetta Talisman also complete for Sanji, means that Echo can go for those plays more often and more regularly. So Blacklist needs to be very, very careful and just read the movement patterns coming in from Echo.
Oh, Edward, caught between three members. Shadow Stampede pulling him in. Benny Cutie making quick work of that tier 1 down bottom. Good news, bad news. Blacklist looking better than they were in game 1, but bad news, Echo's owning majority of the map.
Well, right now, it looks like both teams, they are really committed to actually dishing out the damage, but once they got what they need, it's like, yo, I'm out. I don't need to stay any longer, because we've seen a lot of fights being engaged, but it's all secondary, you know? It's like, if I can get the kill, good, great bonus, but if a turtle is in front of me, I'm gonna go for that. If I see a turtle, I'm gonna go for that. Now, Lord Spawn, will they go for that?
This is the crazy part about Echo, man. They're so aggressive, but they never force it and never overdo it. So they take what makes sense, and if there's anything else that's still baiting them, they don't fall for that kind of trap. And now they're putting it to Edward.
Ooh, that's a pull. Edward goes on back. Lord at less than half health. Daunting Light already spent by Haji. There's a knock-up on the Wise. Bounce away! That's a Benetol. Wise secures the Lord with the Retribution. They're looking for solid blazing duet, and Benny takes down one. The Queen falls. Wise running away. OF takes down Benny, and Wise underneath the tier 2 turret retreating. Sanji looking for his man. Yaoi slows him down. Down goes Wise as well. It's a 2-for-1, but Blacklist gets the Lord.
Get the Lord, and this is a chance for Blacklist to try and equalize, right? Get some more objectives on the map, some of these turrets down, but Echo, they just played that fight just so aggressively, and I think, in a way, Blacklist came out on top there.
Oh, Sanchi, threatened here by Edward, ever the threat, Agent Zero. Making so much space for Oheb to make plays with. Now, oh, here's another 1v1. Haji's gonna fall. Appraiser's Wrath. What was Imam doing there?
Yeah, right now, Blacklist, they are trying to put the pressure. But Carl DZ coming from the side. Edward taking quite a lot of damage.
They're not done. Blazing duet here, plus an ult from Yaoi. Edward, he's healing, but he's not gonna last very long. BMI by Benny, straight into the face of V and Oheb. They push him back.
Right now, slow things down. Echo, it looks like even if Blacklist, they're ready for a fight, they're not entirely ready, because right now, Echo, they're looking more tankier, more damage. Looking at the items, Blacklist, are they ready to fight back, or they need to wait a little bit more?
I mean, Edward is pretty solid as a frontline right here. He has the Antique Cuirass, so denying most of the ability damage coming in from the side of Echo. And along with that, Wise is also going for a full tanky build with the Bruther's Breastplate and the Oracle. So that will be the main front line, and they do have the Necklace of Durance just to reduce the healing coming in from Echo. So very smart itemization, but at this point, you have to wonder if they have the right utility, but not enough damage.
Well, right now, Blacklist International, the only thing in my head, I kind of feel like they should be enough in damage. The only thing is, how are they going to engage? How are they going to deal with all this healing coming in from Yaoi? Because as a Kaja, you want to pick someone off. But if they're moving as 5, good luck.
Yeah, it's basically playing your doppelganger, because this is the Orca Ube we're seeing. They're together for a majority of this 11-minute game, and that's why it's so difficult for King Wise to engage.
Is it called a School of Orca?
No, it's the Orca Ube. Oh yeah, the pod.
The pod,
yes.
yeah,
The
the pod,
yes.
yeah. I
The
learned
pod.
something new from an American.
Mr. Wagner.
Mr. Wagner, yes.
A lot of Orcas, I mean, it makes sense. And now Haji has the Lightning Truncheon though, so maybe, right, if they can just do a lot of burst damage from far away, they might just be able to force Yaoi to use the Blessing of the Moon Goddess before the big fight even begins. That might be the exact scenario they're looking for, because Wise is just moving back and forth, threatening the engage, even though he hasn't been very dynamic with it.
Okay, look, right now it's 12 minutes, okay? If at any point Blacklist wants to get an engagement, this is where you do it, because if Echo really wants this Lord, can you actually make sure you don't get hit by Haji with the Mystic Field? Because if everyone's gathered together, you're gonna get stunned. Wise will find an angle to pull you aside with this Lord take. Will Blacklist do something with it?
Lord at about a third of its health. There's a knockup, and there's a split, and there's the ult by Yaoi. Daunting Light run on through. Cult Altar on cue. Lord very low. Carl Easy secures it, and look at Benny Cutie in the back line, punished by Oheb. Oh, and it's wise, very low as well. There's another knock-up, and there's a flicker in by Sanji with a Shadow Stampede to boot. Wise very low, he still survives. Sanji punished by Edward, but he's gonna spawn really fast. 1 for none so far. A Lord for a kill, they're still going. Carteezy very low, Yawi doing his best to heal him. Haji with the shutdown.
Well, like I said, man, if Blacklist, they want to do anything with their team fight, they gotta wait on the Lord. You gotta wait for Echo to do what you're expecting them to do. Move together, give a spot for Haji to actually make it so that they can't move as a group, and then wait for Wise to get that catch. And OHEB, 3-0 right now, doing a lot of damage onto Echo.
Now you see the issue with the composition from Echo right here. They have a lot of damage, they have a lot of sustainability with the Blessing of the Moon Goddess and the Cult Altar, but when Blacklist kite away and move away from the fight, they have no way of chasing or ensuring that Blacklist is in there scrapping against them. So Blacklist can just outmaneuver them like we saw in the previous Lord Pit, and the longer the fight goes, the more DPS and less combo reliant heroes from the side of Blacklist can do a lot of damage. We saw that happen in the previous fight, so Echo now needs to make sure that the fights are quick and simple.
Yep, they essentially have to penetrate the pod, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right now, honestly, looking at this, I feel like this is a very complicated draft to really pilot, because Blacklist, if they're gonna win the fights, they're kind of manipulating Echo to do what they want. Carteezy engages.
Oh, they find out my Venus, forcing out an early times journey. Now they're gonna back out a Dawning Light for good measure. Sanford putting a few beads onto Edward from the back line, forcing out a Cult Altar. Oh, this is not a good engage for either team. Yaoi pulls out the ult, both skittish to force this fight.
But still, a lot of pressure right now Echo is putting onto Blacklist. Basically, Carteezy is just reminding them, is like, you guys want to fight, don't forget, I'm here. I can tank the damage, and I can deal the damage. So if you see me, you run first. You got it? You run first.
I mean, I feel like the main engage tool for Echo right now is going to be Carteezy, and they have to try and switch it up a bit, because it seems like Blacklist is always ready every time he goes in for that engagement. Look at that snipe!
Very low, Sanji backing out, just dodging the Dawning Light about an inch away. Yaoi now in trouble, gets the Divine Judgment on him. Haji obliges. That's a clear pick off, a win for Blacklist, now 1,400 gold ahead.
That is the poke damage we've been talking about. Before the fight even begins, everyone gets taken so low due to the snipes, due to the Dawning Light, and afterwards, on the way back, Echo is just too slow. Wise can take his easy time, just dragging them back with the Divine Judgment, and they have no solution to this playstyle that Blacklist is showing them right now.
Blacklist, just by using the Lord, winning one fight around the river, they have changed this game into their favor, and not by a little. 2.5k gold lead. Now doing a lot of damage from the back line. So right now, they're activating the draft. We don't have to engage. You don't want to engage, we just deal the damage.
They're past the LaFell threshold, and they find Sanford. There's the Divine Judgment, popping the Cult Altar's extra life. Dawning Light pierces on through the pod, and forcing the ult from Yaoi. Can they survive this? Carteezy just focused on the Lord. Cutie forced to go to the back line. They take down Edward. Sanji gets the kill. Sanford very low. OHEB, the Filipino sniper, gets it. Carteezy, the best in the world, confirms it, but at the cost of his life. Another one falls, Cutie, and there was no one left for Echo.
Wipe out Blacklist International, 4 members with a minion wave pushing in. But look at this, Sanji tries to do something.
Can he? No, the answer is no. Oh Lord, the Lord, speak it up. He spawns. That's Echo 6-man pushing out in their favor.
Now he spawns.
Now, that was almost over, but no. Blacklist, they're continuing on. OHEB shredding that very low, and Wise engages Yaoi. Nothing can be done. Blacklist International wins game number 2.
Code.
You bum break the code. And with that, we're going into the draft. Game number 3, Leo wants to see something different. He wants to see more explosions coming in from Echo.
Honestly, I think for Echo, they have to get some crowd control, some burst damage, because that is exactly what allowed them to just completely demolish the early game against Blacklist. And in the second game, yes, the team fighting was really good, but unless they can actually make sure that Blacklist sticks around, right? Blacklist is just
Yeah.
too clean, too intelligent at the maneuvering, avoiding conflicts when it's not necessary. So now looking at the bans, there's already quite a bit of difference, but that
Yeah.
Diggy,
Okay, I want to talk about this as well because you talk about damage. Where's damage? And Carry is failing like one of the bigger burster damagers in the
Yes.
game. Blacklist, they're baiting out Cho. Why is that? Why is it that they don't want to give Cho over to Echo? What are they thinking about that a Cho can counter?
Well, it's not about what they can counter, it's what it puts on the map, what kind of threat it is. And in the hands of the playmaker Yaoi, anything is possible. Again, TikTok plays per minute.
TikTok plays per minute. Yeehaw! With the Cho getting banned. So right now, it looks sort of the same, except this time, the Diggy won't be available. Echo answers back with a Faramis to answer to the glue, and then Carl TZ again with the Fredrin.
Now this is a scary situation here.
Is
In the
it?
previous game, you saw that with the Cult Altar, with the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, Echo was still reliant on the Blazing Duet going full duration. But now, even without the Blazing Duet, the basic attacks alone from Benny QD will be doing a lot of damage. And if they can secure the same kind of sustain, then Blacklist need to find a solution, some kind of crowd control, some kind of nuke damage to ensure that the carry will not just completely steamroll over their team.
Yep, by the looks of things, if this is indeed going to be the pick by Blacklist International, they'll be forced to iterate. But again, that's what they're good at. They innovate and then they iterate. And they lock in the signature pick of the Queen. Oh My Venus Estes is confirmed for Game 3. I don't know though what that might mean for Echo, because now they're forcing, they're forced to respond with some level of burst.
Okay, here's the thing, Leo. You know the players, you know the teams, you know the coaches, you know the management, you know a lot of things. That's why I like you, right? But
Thanks.
Oh My Venus right now, picking up the Estes, is this kind of like an ego thing where you're like, Yaoi, why are you playing Estes like that? You really want to show me how you do it?
If anything, it's a reverse ego thing. I'm not sure when, but I think in the last couple of nights in an interview, Oh My Venus was asked, why don't you use the Blacklist skin when you use Estes at M4?
That's a good question.
Yeah, and they went, no, I don't want to feel like the champion walking into the stage. I want to earn that title, so I'll use a different skin.
Oh, that's very humble, but it's kind of overshadowed
Queen
now
things.
with the Valir band. So this is very interesting because if they're betting out the Valir, Valir is kind of like pushing people away. So it looks like they want to charge in.
Logically speaking, that is what makes sense. That is the main, you know, the winning decision, the winning factor for a Valir, right? Removing crowd control, having healthy AoE
pushing
and range
people away.
and crowd control. So either Blacklist want to go for something mobile, something aggressive to go towards the, you know, just crash towards the whole team of Echo, or they're gonna try and avoid getting clumped together for that big AoE damage.
That's also a deep cut because Yaoi debuted a Rome Valir in the Grand Finals of MPL Philippines Season 10 and won a game in the Grand Finals with that. So I think that's just Blacklist reading into the situation. And if I'm not mistaken, look at this. Who'd have thought that in the last two picks, in the last phase of the draft, you're able to flex? We don't know where this Lunox is going.
Yeah, we don't know where the Lunox is going, but Sanford gets the joy. We've seen him on this pick before. He will make sure the back lines will not have a comfortable time. But now, Blacklist, what is the back line? What is Sanford on the joy is going to chase after?
I think it needs to be something with a bit more mobility, because otherwise
Matrix?
everyone here can just go in aggressively. If Oheb is an immobile marksman, he's going to get left behind. So something that they can follow up with the rest of the team for sure.
I mean, again, like, this Lunox could go to the gold lane, but right now, since they're hovering marksmen, you know, well, we thought about it. Beatrix, one of the higher win rates, is possible to just pick up here. I mean, if it works, because like our analysts say, if you want to fight guns, then use guns. Carrie's not using a gun, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I don't know where Gideon personally was going with that, but here it is in the hands of the Filipino sniper, signature pick. Game 2 was won off of the back of a very successful Beatrix in the hands of Oheb. So again, the key here is to iterate, not to innovate. Don't change what works. And with that being said, I'm liking the draft for Blacklist. There's a lot between the interaction of the Estes and the Lunox. They can survive so many team fights off the back of just those two alone.
But I think as far as the full team fight, the full-blown 5v5 team fight is concerned, it seems like both these compositions are gonna clash against each other. And for Echo, with a Lolita, with a Faramis and a Fredrin, I feel like there's a lot more possibility for a big crowd control tool. So I think Blacklist needs to be very careful.
Yeah, Blacklist needs to be very, very careful. And with that being said, we're going into game number 3. Blacklist International, Echo. Who will draw first blood?
Oof, I mean, in the early game, I think that Echo still has a lot more aggressive heroes in the pool. Lolita in the early game, deceptively high damage with the Bulwark, right? And then afterwards, having that Joy is definitely something that they will try and abuse.
Yep, and again, the interaction of the Estes and Lunox surviving a lot is countered by the Bulwark, because again, the Lunox is throwing out projectiles that Yawi can block. So that is something Echo can go for. With today's matches, wow, Oh My Venus hit a milestone, 500 total assists in the M series. And V has been part of what? Just 2 so far. Well, 3. V played in M1.
I mean, like, here's the thing. When you're playing a strat like the Ube strat, that kind of stat is like something that you're expecting. Now, looking at this, Wise invades the jungle of Carl TZ, and now Blacklist International as well as Echo, they're trying to read each other out. They're trying to see where the aggression is. Is Blacklist going to try to get another first blood here in this space of the map?
Oh, they are relentless. They're forcing a response from Carl TZ here, and they're going to get it. But we'll see. This buff, this creep rather, still standing. Wise comes in. Retribution spent.
Ooh, wow. I mean, it seems like Blacklist want to try and get any single piece of lead they can get. And in the XP lane, the glue has been a lot earlier in rotating compared to the Joy, so already a small victory for Edward on that glue pick. And for both teams, right, there's a very limited amount of crowd control, so these high mobility dive heroes are going to have a huge role to play in that mid game. But for now, for Benny at least, he is just focused on scaling, because later on, this is the man that everyone is looking towards to try and just deal enough damage to melt through everything, including the Blessing of the Moon Goddess.
You're right, the storms of ruin, but now in the Turtle Pit, Contizi with a massive pull. Here comes Sanford, Edward with a split. Who's he gonna jump down onto? And there's a Numenon Blast, helping Contizi secure the turtle. Down goes King Wise, Edward on the Carl TZ with the grab, forcing a Cult Altar from Sanji. Edward jumps off, Flicker as well. They retreat.
Right now, Echo, they're starting the game strong. They're setting the tempo, but looking at Blacklist and trying to see the bigger picture, why they invade, because is it really worth it trying to get that small jungle creep? I kind of feel like it is partly to deny, but even if they don't get it, it's kind of okay, because they just want to slow down the rotation coming in from Echo, because look at the draft. Blacklist International, they kind of want to wait it out just a little bit.
I think they're trying to make sure that they abuse the early game potential of a Lunox, because deceptively, even though Lunox is a late game hero, the early game is just sustainable, good burst damage, and like this, good outplay potential as well to try and save you from sticky situations. And look at Yawi though.
Oh! Sidestep! Numenon Blast! And they put up the Bulwark, forcing an ult from Oh My Venus, but Oheb is gonna fall regardless, with Sanford dashing out through the back line. Popping that ult, but it's an overkill. Echo now 1,000 ahead, 3 minutes in.
I mean, they get Oheb though, so is it really an overkill? And Carl easy though, go for a solo play, gets Oh My Venus. Echo right now trying to get all the control possible in this early game.
Oh, they put the pedal to the metal, because look at Yawi cutting behind this tier 1 turret. There's another fight. Here's Wise sandwiched by 3 members, looking for some CC. That's Echo. Oh, they are in too deep. Wise down to a 5th of his health. Pop in the ult. Oh My Venus putting them all in shape. Oh. Now, there's Numenon Blast cancelled. Edward, the answer. Oh, Wise very low. There's a grab, and a pull. Another heal coming in. Edward taken down. Sanji gets the kill, and look at Sanford dashing on through the back line. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. Look at Haji. He's very low as well. Dashing on through using the darkness. And Contizi confirms a kill underneath tier 1. It's only 4 minutes in, and Echo's already 2K ahead.
All right, Leo, I'm going to take over. You can like chill for a minute, because that was a long fight. To put into perspective how long that fight was, 3 appraisals wrapped, 2 Numinum Blasts?
You're counting.
When you have ultimates just like resetting and using it again and again and again, I feel like even the minion creeps, they're like, excuse me, do I not exist to you? Am I a joke?
Calm down, sir. Calm down.
Both teams on the mission trying to gain that control. Unfortunately for Blacklist, Echo are the ones controlling unless they can go for a play, but no, it's going to be the total secured. But Yawi tries to go for a play. Unfortunately, it does not land. That is the limitations of a Lolita.
False engage there, close call. Blacklist have been getting better in this 5-minute game so far at reading where Yawi will put it. But still, again, that's what, 2 sidestep Luminum Blasts that the playmaker set? That's gonna be lethal if it gets him another time. But up top, Oheb gonna get caught here by the Shadow Stampede. And the Storm trumps the Filipino Sniper. Another one up top. But an ult from Oh My Venus puts Carl TZ in a compromised position. Here comes Wise with Divine Judgment on Sanji. Shadow Stampede pulling King Wise in, securing the kill for Carl TZ. That's 2 up top. None for Blacklist.
I mean, you can tell right now the crowd control, the engage tools available for Echo, there's just so many of them, and you can see a huge contrast from game number 2. Blacklist have no idea who's going to try and make the engage happen, and Echo is taking full advantage of it, trying to confuse Blacklist as much as possible.
Hey, here's the thing. We want the explosiveness from Echo. They delivered. Looking at the items right now, but before that, Echo, are they thinking about engaging again? Nope, never mind. Arashi, looking at the items, is it okay for Blacklist to fight or not? Yeah, because looking at Beatrix, it doesn't look like that's the case.
It's a tough situation because Oheb is has 2 deaths. He's quite behind. And if you look at Kaltizi, he's itemizing for magical defense, understanding that the physical damage source from Blacklist is not on tempo. So Echo is just playing it very, very smart. And on the flip side, Benny Cutie, just off the passive, off the carry, does so much damage to these beefy front lines. So if Blacklist just cannot end the fight quick, it's just too difficult. And despite the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, Echo, as of right now, with a 4K gold lead, have enough damage to melt through all of that.
And what's scary is Blacklist aren't really even that beefy, right? They're squishies with an Estus. So if they stand a little too long and Oh My Venus doesn't pull the trigger on the ult, then all the more it's lethal. Here's a concealed play by Yawi. Who's he gonna find? Luminous Blast right in your face! And it gets cancelled. He pulls out. Yawi puts up the bulwark. It's a 4v2 down bottom. Edward gets the grab. Yawi's gonna have to fall here. Off cam though, Carl DZ gets a turtle. Sanji very low. Cold Altar already forced out. A lot of damage from Haji. Wise gets the kill. Finally, Carl DZ in the middle of all 5 members. Here comes Sanford. Can he get somebody redeem those first 2 deaths from Echo? Oh, he's still dancing, but there's way too much help from Blacklist. Wise takes down the young Sanford, and it's just Carl DZ and Sanji left. Benny Cutie a little busy in mid. Appraiser's Rat hitting 2. Knock up from Carl DZ, and now it's Carl DZ who's retreating, and he's very low. Can they get the kill? Edward shuts him down.
Oh, but look at that behind. Benny Cutie goes ahead.
Benny Cutie gets a double, takes down King Wise. There's the brilliance from Haji, Sanji, and Benny trying. There's a Numinum Blast from Yawi. Edward pushing him back, and that's a full disengage.
I mean, you say a full disengage, but Echo and Blacklist, they're looking for any reason to go through.
Psych! There's a grab, and a split, pulling him back. Edward knows he can't get the kill on Yawi. Now for reals, that's a disengage.
Honestly, out of nowhere, the carry, Benny Cutie just showed up behind them out of nowhere. Even I missed that due to so much action going on around the whole fight. This is an insane game. But if you look at it, Blacklist is still itemizing for a lot of magical damage, whereas Benny Cutie already at 3 items. So you can see that his damage is something that Blacklist cannot ignore.
I don't speak Tagalog, but if I would use my imagination, I would imagine for both teams, there comes as like, huh? Go? What you want me to go? You want me to engage?
Again?
Okay, I'll engage. Like, every single fight is like they're trying to find excuses of actually starting something.
Echo marketing, Blacklist marketing, this is a clear sign that LaFell wants to hear the mic check for this match. All right, now Lord has spawned, both teams jockeying for position, looking for the pull.
I feel like if Echo can go in together, not one by one like we saw in the previous fight, they have a really good chance of just winning decisively in these team fights due to their gold lead. But now Sanford is the one initiating that play, but look at the Blast!
Oh! Yawi gets 3 underneath it. Oheb with Nibiru's passion bombs away with Bennett. Called Alta right on cue from Sanji. Edward very low. Benicuri takes him down. Another falls. Wise is down. No rescue for Blacklist International. They're not done. There's a stun onto Haji. And there's a pull. Down he goes. Sanji gets the kill. 3 for none so far. V and OM are forced to back out. Lord going over to Echo.
4,000 goal lead, and now Echo is getting themselves a Lord. They're pressuring down at mid. Will they try to get anything at all? Oheb misses the snipe. Right now, Echo, this is what we asked for. We wanted explosiveness, and I kind of feel like this first pick, Frederick, is really paying off. I don't know. If it were me, I'm not letting this Frederick go through again.
I mean, it is still sitting at a very high win rate, but honestly, Benicuri, despite all the skills, all the effort Blacklist is throwing at him, still on 0 deaths. The protection coming in from his whole team is just so obnoxious as he is just free hitting in the back, doing a lot of damage, and with that passive, Edward can't even stay for long.
Right now, the Lord is at top. Blacklist International, they're waiting.
Ooh,
If they get engaged.
Divine Judgment on Yawi. Called Altar Force out of Sanji, but they're still going to continue. Going on blast on the 2. They're going to retreat underneath their tier 1. Lord still alive, less than half health. Blacklist going to clean up house. Could have been lethal, but the world champions defend.
I mean, you can see that for Echo, burst damage isn't exactly what they have to go for. It's for the most part a lot of DPS from Sanford and Benicuri. So if Blacklist can just disengage from the long prolonged team fights, I think they can have a good chance in staying in this game. But with that powered waves, Echo is going to try and make sure that they have all lanes under control and they have full coverage on the jungle of Blacklist International.
Right now, I'm just looking at a KDA. Sanford 0-1 and 6. Yaoi 0-1 and 8. Sanji 2-1 and 8. This does show every single fight, everyone's basically involved. And they have a lot of ways to engage. And this is making it very difficult for Blacklist because they want to be able to disengage, but then the focus is everywhere. Who do you really focus on? Sanji, Yaoi, Sanford? You want to focus on Carl Deasy, but he looks nigh indestructible.
They have perfected the Orca Pod strat. This is it. This is their version of the Ube, and it has its own distinct flavor, and I'm here for it.
Look at the item right now. You can see that Sanford has the glowing one, so even more percentage HP damage being chunked out towards Blacklist International. Of course, the Kaja, the Glue, as well as the Estes, these are all ripe targets for the source of damage from the Joy. And you can see that Sanji has built the Necklace of Durance as well, ensuring that the longer the fight goes, that healing gets less and less. And with an 8k gold lead, I don't even know if they really need that. It's insane.
But looking at this right now, Oheb already having 3 items, I kind of feel like it is definitely comebackable because Beatrix, of course, has been changed like every single patch. And the recent patch right now is that Beatrix is still very strong. It's just like very strong, almost like ultra late game, like 3 items, 4 items. So it's definitely comebackable because they have the damage for it. It's just like, again, like the Orca Pod strategy where you're like overloading the senses of your opponent and be like, what am I really gonna do with all of this pressure coming in? Oheb is gonna have a difficult time sniping the correct targets because who's the right target?
Yep, and just as we're talking about it, Carl Deasy pulls the Lord. Could happen any minute. Orca Pod versus Ube strat. It could come to a head anytime soon. Lord at less than half its health. Look at where Yaoi is. Look at that big Ube Blacklist in that purple side jungle. As far as I'm concerned, it's a free Lord for Echo.
Yeah, it seems like Blacklist will back away from it. It's just way too risky without any information. That will be a free Lord for Echo. Gold lead extending to 10k. And by the way, Benicuri has an Athena shield as well right now. He is covering all bases, ensuring that a shutdown is the last thing possible for Blacklist International.
I feel like that's a very good call because you have to understand the geography of the map because a lot of tight spaces is very good for Echo. A lot of bushes makes it so that at any point of time, a crazy engage could happen. And Blacklist, the way that they can counter-engage is through Wise, is through Edward. Without a proper vision, it is going to be very, very difficult right now. Lord in mid.
Oh, very good defense so far. Wise playing with fire. There's a Lumina Blast with a flicker in by Yawi. Stuns 3 underneath here. 3. That's an inhibitor at jeopardy. And so far, it's dangerous for Echo. Very low. 3 members backing out. Wise looking for someone, looking for anything. And they push back the Orcas.
They went for an aggressive play, trying to just crack open the base of Blacklist International, but against a Beatrix, right? That's such a dangerous maneuver. The Dimmir's Passion just chunked through all their HP bars, and even Benny Cutie almost gets taken out, and fortunately, they were able to escape with their lives, but that is now something they know cannot be done.
Exactly. 10,000 goal difference, and Blacklist almost killed 3 members of Echo. If that doesn't scream comebackable, I don't know what is. So now it really is evident at 50 minutes in the game. Looking at the items, Blacklist have basically all the damage that they need. They just need to be able to catch Echo slipping.
Exactly, with the Lightning Trojans finished from Haji as well, the Squishier members at least from the side of Echo need to be very careful. And even if you're Carl TZ in the front, we know that Lunox does a lot of damage against tanks as well. So slowly but surely, Blacklist are getting the tools they require to possibly fight back against Echo in these neutral objectives. The question is, how long is it going to take? Because at a 10k gold lead, with the next Lord spawning in 50 seconds, I think it's going to be a bit of a do-or-die situation for both these teams.
Yep, we're about a minute away from this Lord. It's going to be enhanced, but not evolved quite yet, so it will ram into turrets. Thinking about how they can make this comeback maybe all the more convincing, I'm waiting for the KDA machine to get that 5th item. I think that's what's needed here.
Yeah, and okay, so now looking at the map, what Blacklist really need to do is try to establish some kind of map pressure, but they can't do that until Echo shows their face, because going inside bushes, seeing it as how Yaoi has been catching 2 members, 3 members, 4 members, it's really hurting Blacklist now, and that's why we can see they're freezing the lane, kind of making, it's like a reverse freeze where like, we're making it so that everything is here. You guys want more gold? You guys are at 9,000, you want to push it to 10,000? Come here. We need to know where you are so that we can figure out how to contest.
And that's the vision without vision we were talking about the other day, where Echo uses deduction, uses the fact that they're not here, okay, we know for sure that they're in this bush, we can push the advantage. And Blacklist are forced to ube their way out of this comebackable strat. And again, another free Lord for Echo.
Free Lord for Echo, and honestly, I thought they were going to take over the whole jungle of Blacklist, but they just played a bit more calm and calculated, and you saw earlier, a Holy Crystal has been completed for Sanford, I believe, and that's an even higher amount of burst damage that Blacklist need to contend with, and with the Lord here, there's a chance that Echo can crack open, can split apart this very cohesive unit that Blacklist International have.
I gotta say, this is a very interesting strat, how they're turtling up here, Blacklist International. Like, people watching this, they might be like, oh, they're like giving up. It's like, no, they're not giving up. They're purposely setting up their own waves so that it's at their own favor.
Exactly, it's a counter freeze. Because it was clear that Echo was freezing earlier to deny our utilities and resources, but now Blacklist are on the same page as well. That was a close call. Could have been a pull. It's Wise who's the only one outside his base.
Alone in the jungle against multiple members of Echo, that's a dangerous spot to be playing around with, but maybe Blacklist are trying to use this as a bait. They can go for a big Divine Judgment here if Wise can spot an opportunity.
Oh, that's already 1 inhibitor down in bot. Numenon Blast, confirming the kill, giving it over to Benny Cutie. That's 1 massive ult away from Echo. How can Blacklist capitalize? They pop Yaoi here, his immortality goes down. Top lane inhibitor goes down as well. Edward survives, but only just as Oh My Venus uses the ult to save Agent Zero. Now the base is in jeopardy. Will Echo force their way into Blacklist's base? They're waiting for a wave. Let's see if they can get this. Sanji blasted here by Haji and Ohem. In comes Sanford, going into the back line. Popping the Filipino sniper. The base gonna go down. Echo takes game 3. Him to go Ruby DD onto Echo, but they just couldn't find that moment. So I'm hoping that now they put a hero on him, like a Farsa or an Eve, that can actually get him there.
With that being said, we're starting off the draft. And Arashi, I'm just saying, I'm hoping I see a Fredrin ban and... Fredrin ban!
Fredrin ban, and on the point of Haji on a Farsa, so far it has been banned on every single game by Echo, and now we're seeing it potentially being left open. So we'll have to see, Leo. I think if they do leave that Farsa available, Blacklist will definitely try and capitalize and use that pick to its full potential. But for now, they're just waiting to see, will Echo take that risk? They will not.
Yeah, Farsa has been banned, but this leaves the carry open. And whenever we go online, you know, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, and all those other social medias, it's like every single time people are talking about, why didn't you ban this hero? Why did you let it go through? Why did you let the carry go through? Where, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we have a limited slots of ban. Not every single hero can be cancelled out. But moving along, Echo now securing E for themselves, which again, really putting a lot of pressure in mid, in the Riverside. But this carry, will this be the difference maker for Blacklist?
Yep, they're at least confirming one of their damage sources, but looking at Echo, the world is their oyster, right? They got the Eve, so they have their box. What's this other pick here? Is this the Joy, since it is open? Is it going to be a Yuzhong? But instead, whoa! This is this one of the earliest Harrods we've seen in M4?
The earliest Harith, I feel, because I don't think anyone has first picked it yet. And answering back quickly, they got the Lolita as well as the Valentina.
Aggressive picks from the side of Blacklist as well, and Echo did pick the Harith in the first drafting phase early, but as a third pick, not the first pick, so it is very early indeed. But keep in mind, in that first game, Betty Cutie was able to pop off in such an insane way on an Harith in the early game, so Blacklist needs to find some countermeasures quick.
Now, from Tic Tac, Coach Tic Tac, I want to see a Philippine versus Philippine Grand Finals so we can achieve a back-to-back champion from the Philippines. This is his quote, but I don't have to agree. Nah, I don't want another Philippine, but we're moving forward. The Yuzhong has been picked up, and quickly, the glue has been banned.
Oh wow, I forgot to mention the glue in the possible first picks for Echo. So this seems to be them showing force, them showing decisiveness, because that Harith did not have to be in that spot.
Oh yeah, no, definitely no. I mean, like, sure, you've seen who you're going up against, but the Harith is not always early pick because there are ways to fight against it. But looking at this, if you're willing to pick it up early, there's two things. Either number one, you kind of don't care. Sure, you can have other heroes, you can have specific heroes that counter me, but at the same time, I can outplay it. Or number two, they have a bigger surprise. And I'm hoping for option number two of why they're picking up the Harith this early.
And actually, Echo are the ones banning away that Joy. I guess with a Harith in their hands, they don't really want two of the same kind of tools for their team composition. But against a Lolita, though, this is a concern, right? Echo has been so decisive and so aggressive. Against a Lolita against an aggressive team, just gets bumped around and gets that Numeron Bless cancelled. So that is something that Blacklist needs to try and keep in mind.
Yeah, and what Blacklist is presenting is the fact that we don't know which hero Wise or Haji is playing still. We don't know where this Valentina is going, but there's already a lot of juicy ults that Valentina can take. In the first phase alone, there's a solid Black Dragon form and a real-world manipulation.
Yeah, right now, because looking at Echo, again, let's talk about how they've been playing so far. Applying too much pressure, applying this over-sensory kind of thing with a Black Dragon coming towards you.
Yep.
Like, in real life, I'd be afraid.
Rather not, please.
I'd rather not, right? I'm walking, all of a sudden, I'm slowed down by having a cross underneath my feet, and then like in the air, now I got a link to deal with. Again, this looks kind of like a dive and a control kind of comp where you got a control coming in from the Eve as well as the Harith. A lot of slow there, and then a lot of dive coming in from the Yuzhong and the Ling. So you do not want to let Echo start things off. You need to find a way to kind of like push them away for a little bit. So now, Barats as well as Lapu Lapu getting picked up. Is this the right answers to what Echo is, showing problems to?
Again, in theory, on paper, it's the same idea, right? Three very beefy characters with a good source of magic damage and a good source of physical damage. Unfortunately, if you recall the first game, Echo has a very similar composition, and there they were using a Hilda to facilitate their aggression. Now they can use this Grok, so we'll have to see which one's worse, because of course, Blacklist was using a different composition as well. But this is going to be a very dangerous game, man. A lot of danger, a lot of engagement available for both these teams.
That's true, specifically for Echo, because it's so clear what they're trying to do, right? They want to shock and awe. We set up the box. If you want to fight in it, okay, you're lost. If not, we'll chase you down. But Blacklist actually set up a pretty good lineup themselves. You have a Lolita, a carry. It's a lot of good coverage. It's a matter of which heroes Haji can find with the IMU, and then how early Wise can snowball on his signature barats.
Again, I just want to say this. Indonesian cameraman, you're the Indonesian sniper. Very, very impressive. But yes, we got to look into this game because all the cats like boxes. And we got a few cats here in this game. Number 4, Blacklist going up against Echo. Who will win the fight in the box and who will think outside of the box?
Off the bat, look at the amount of magic shops available for both these, the mystery shops for all these early game heroes, man. Echo for sure wants to try and start snowballing, and in the early stage of the game, you see that Vanicurity also has a Purify, so we're still respecting the potential for Blacklist to strike back with their own crowd control.
I think Blacklist wants to go a little faster this time, and they're showing it via their battle spells and their movement. Look at this, Oh My Venus going ahead and giving a little bit of their peace of mind to Carl Teasy, as well as the fact that they have 4 flickers. 4 flickers.
I do agree that they have to push the tempo a little bit. They got to move a little bit faster. But now the question is, where? Do you really want to put pressure into the jungle? And if you do want to put pressure into the jungle, what are you willing to expend? Because right now, Oh My Venus, he's really providing the vision. But I kind of want Haji to get in level 4 a little bit first.
Haji level 4 will definitely be a significant power spike, but the concern is with so many flickers on the side of Blacklist, they don't have a lot of purifies, and they are 2 absolutely solid engaged throws in the Black Dragon form with the Petrify Furious Dive, and of course with Yaoi, Flicker, Wild Charge. So once level 4 rolls around, Echo has a chance to just completely shock Blacklist International.
Yep, but it looks like these 4v4s, 5v5s aren't going to happen quite yet, because at least before this first turn, we're about 15 seconds away. Gold Crab going over to Carl Teasy here. Sanji spacing out Haji and Edward. Are we going to see a purple delay, or are they just going to make a beeline for this turtle?
I kind of wish that Blacklist does put that pressure there. I just kind of feel like they want Wise to be a little bit more comfortable, get that 15 stacks, maybe off of this fight around the turtle, but in the mid, looks like Wise
Dennis welcome, answered by a Tempest of Blades. Wise put down to about a 1/4 of his health. Flicker spent by Yaoi. He's holding on to a Wild Charge. It's going to be for naught.
Wow, he went with a flicker, but he didn't really get anything with that, so it's a bit of a mistake, but Edward goes in 1v4 right now.
Bravest fighter answered by a real world manipulation. Newman on blast. No one home. Edward forced the flicker out. Echo with a clean take for that major objective.
So many things happening at the same time, but still nothing significant just taken by either team.
I mean, like, a lot of boxes were set up, but no one is really taking the bait. And with that being said, looking at the items right now, I'm already looking at Haji. It looks like he wants to be like a scaling kind of Valentina, going for the elegant gem. But right now, Sanji, no mana. It looks like Yaoi will be able to protect him.
You know, I was thinking that maybe Sanji was going to go for a bit of a glowing one early on, considering the amount of high HP members Blacklist have on their roster. But at the same time, with how often he's just casting spells left and right, I guess he really requires the Enchanted Talisman, lest he becomes useless in the middle of a very important team fight.
But looking at the items, I kind of feel like with the elegant gem, it might be a situation where he wants to go for a Clock of Destiny Lightning Truncheon combo, and if he does that, sure, he doesn't have a lot of cooldown to really like spam that Terrify, but because if he does take the ult from Sanji, then his real world manipulation will hurt, because that is burst damage going all over around, and hook damage right now, Sanford getting approached by 2.
Oh, that's a Detona's welcome, answered by a Bravest fighter, forcing out a Black Dragon form, out of bounds. Sanford goes to save himself, and he will get away with it and save himself a death.
In a way, this is what makes Yuzong so much better than a glue, right? It's almost a guaranteed escape unless you get bursted down. So if you want to be oppressive, if you want to have to pull multiple members towards your lane, this Yuzong pick is just so flexible, and later in the team fights, it can be the deterrent they require to ensure that the carry cannot free hit with those very dangerous basic attacks.
I like whoever designed these kind of heroes like the Yuzong, like the Farsight. Their idea is you can't die in the Land of Dawn if you're not in the Land of Dawn. But speaking of which,
that's just logic. Here we go. Real world manipulation. The stolen one from Haji. He is you. I am you. Oh, that's Carl Teasy caught out by the Numenon. Blast by Oh My Venus. Helping Wise secure not only first blood, but also the turtle. Clear win for Blacklist.
Okay, that's a preemptive flicker from Oh My Venus that just catches Carl Teasy. What a play, and Blacklist now has some momentum, a 1.2k gold lead, and Echo are the ones now considering how can they play against this because the crowd control is lethal from Blacklist.
It's far from the LaFell threshold, 2k ahead, but can we even call Echo a scaling lineup?
okay, hold on. Looking at the draft, kinda, but not really, because they really start getting online by 2 items. So you're not really looking at the 2,000 threshold. You're just like, okay, you got 2 items. You guys feeling comfortable? Let's go for it. Because we gotta look back, like what happened just now, where Oh My Venus has 2050 vision, and I'm talking about the year, not the eyesight. He saw moving forward. This is where Carl TZ is gonna be. So that's where I'm gonna flicker. So with that kind of movement, Blacklist now 1.4k ahead, but concealed play, will they actually go for it?
They set up the box, real world manipulation answered with a wild charge. Oh My Venus in trouble, answers back, threatens the Numenon blast, but falls regardless, and here comes Carl Teasy, taking down Oheb, 2 for 1. Benny Cutie suffers the trade, but Carl Teasy will go ahead and whack away at this turret.
Oheb going in all in to try and just go for a trade there. It was a valiant attempt, but unfortunately not quite enough. And now Echo are able to reduce the gold lead down to 1,000. And with Carl Teasy just being so active around the map, he's a constant threat in the back of Blacklist International.
Oh, Haji with the IMU real world manipulation, taking down the ult's owner. And now Wise gonna be very low here. Popped down by Carl Teasy. Black Dragon form by Sanford, splitting up the Ube. Now it's on my Venus turn. Wild charge onto the Guardian's barrier. Sanford still in the half. Black Dragon form pushed away by Edward. Flicker in by Oheb, securing the kill for Blacklist.
That is how scary Oheb is. But now Benny Cutie tries to fight.
Zalman Force helping him dash on through, but Oheb gets more than a few pinwheels on him. Sanji goes for the trade. It's 1 for 1 in mid.
It's a back and forth slugfest, and Edward is still sticking around with no HP. What is going on?
Oh My Venus. Void Crystal.
Oh!
At the most unfortunate moment, but ladies and gentlemen, we need to make sure our athletes get the best experience.
Okay,
Wow,
calm
man.
down.
We need to calm down. This
Bringing it
game.
down.
I'm calm, you calm down.
Yeah, you calm down.
Oh, my bad, my bad. All right.
Okay, so speaking of calming down, they weren't calm when Oheb actually arrives, because we gotta see once Oheb comes, it's like, yo, let's everyone back up. Except Etiquette is like, nah, I'm going forward. And it's a lot of like trading going back and forth, where they're like, nah, I can outplay this. I can outplay this. In that kind of sense, I kind of feel like, oh my goodness, he might be thinking, he's like, how can I outplay this?
Trust me, I can outplay this.
Yeah, famous last words.
But
Famous last word.
came down to a trade. And again, if the margin is that small, I'm not sure like which shot caller wants that trade, right? Whether Oh My Venus or Yaoi are happy to make those sacrifices.
I feel like the more we go into that mid-game, Echo will have a lot more potential. I mean, early on, we see that the Yuzong, right? He comes in, he was able to get the Petrified
Wrong
combo
camera.
onto Haji, but he does not have enough damage. LaFell, keep your head in the game, man.
Hold on, what is that? Kapanya bisa
Bisa
M4.
M4.
Ala!
It says M4 date, barang, so like M4 date with someone.
Oh, she wants an M4
couldn't
date
read the
with
rest.
someone. But what I want is to go back into the game where it looks like Oh My Venus was taken down.
There you go. See, I was wondering, like, was it worth it for the shot callers to force this out? Now, Carl TZ a little too late to the party. Gonna go on this wall with Sanford as only support.
Whoa.
Tempest of Blades up, plus a Retribution, but it's not enough. It's Wise who secures it.
That is unfortunate, and I feel like Echo is just trying so hard to just make so many things happen, and Wise just takes the purple just under the nose of Kaltizi.
Second time, Dua. Second time that he stole the purple.
Dua Kali, and now look at this. They're freezing it up. They're already starting it. It's like, okay, that's what you want, and now they want Sanford, and they got it.
It's a lot of damage, and despite how tanky Sanford is on the Dude song, this carry damage is insane. I thought he was still in the Black Dragon form earlier, but I guess it wasn't. The Luminous Blast just ends his fate there. So now Echo, despite having a snowballing lineup, they are the ones falling back behind, getting closer and closer to that Lofel threshold.
Two things here. The Black Dragon form only really provides you so much extra HP, right? And second, the Orcas are getting the treatment that the King of Kings suffered in the hands of Blacklist just a few nights ago, right? They were doing the same thing, like, I will only take the big buff and leave the little one so that if it does respawn, you don't see it.
Sometimes mercy is not good, man. Showing mercy to the little one is like, I'm not gonna sacrifice you. You didn't ask for this.
Regardless of the size of your opponent, you give your all.
Exactly. Now, Wise getting trapped here.
Oh, Zaman Force set down by Benny Cutie. Kaltizi waiting at the wings. There's a knock up on the three members. Sanford, though, takes way too many pinwheels from Oheb. And he goes down. Yaoi next in trouble. And Haji with the RWM of his own. Out swiping, out tapping Sanji. That's 2 free kills going over to Blacklist International. They're going to convert into this tier 2 in mid, and Wise going to continue stealing away, choking Kaltizi of his purple buff.
Blacklist already at a 4K gold lead. And look at Wise, man. Echo initiated that fight by using everything onto Wise, and he wasn't even taken below half HP. He's just so ahead right now, and Kaltizi trying to buy some time, trying to make a play happen here, but it's looking bleak for him.
Oh, run, Kyle, run! That's 3 members forced out with Intentional Blades, plus the tail end of the bravest fighter stunning him. He's down to 1/8 of his health, just using all the energy he can. Spotted up by Oheb, and he cancels the recall. He's here, right in the middle of both mid and top lane inhibitors. The Filipino sniper has his man.
Getting closer and closer to the 100 kill. Right now, Blacklist with almost 4,000 gold lead. Edward pushing Yaoi away, and now Blacklist looks like they're getting this Lord for free.
Echo might have to slow this down, even though they're supposed to be the aggressors. They need items right here. Because with a few select items, Sanford can still be a huge menace, can one-shot Oheb, unless of course Oheb has some precautions against that. So I think they have to try and get some small power spikes before they can even use their tools effectively to try and shut down the offense coming in from Blacklist.
Now let's talk about Oheb again. Is now ranked #1, numero uno, numero satu in total kills in M series with 233 kills, just surpassing you guys of 232. Right now, Black Dragon form looking like just trying to push them away. Is he gonna engage? Not yet.
Successful defense by Echo. They're still waiting on a wave from up top. It looks like there's still some left in the tank of Blacklist. Luminous Blast charged up by the Queen.
Ooh.
Calling it off. Nope, never mind. Wild charge coming in. Yaoi the aggressor. Tempest of Blades knocking up one. Down goes Oheb. Down goes Benny Cutie. Yaoi pays the price. Kaltizi getting on out of here. 2 for 1 so far. Make that a 3 for 1. That's Haji taking down Kaltizi, and the mid lane inhibitor is going to fall. Blacklist pushing the advantage.
With 4 members available right here and 3 members still responding from Echo. Sanji is trying his best to try and delay this, but look at the damage coming in.
Oh, the Terrified keeping this even play. Sanji needs to heal up, and Sanford backing out. Here comes Yaoi. Sanji takes down Edward. Agent Zero is down for now. Echo pushes out Blacklist. They live to see another day. Wild Charge was RWM, making sure that no further damage is done to their base.
Echo right now is really holding on, looking at the items. I'm looking at the heart, already having 3. The Holy Crystal, the Calamity Reaper, it should be enough, but Wise, he's barely taking any damage from Echo.
Oh, Zaman Force plus Black Dragon form. No hope for the Numenon Blast. Oheb in trouble. Kaltizi gets him. Wise the next one on the docket. Kaltizi falls. Wise as well. It's a 2 for 1 so far, and Echo wins this engagement.
despite everything, Echo actually comes out on top there. They're able to just deny OHEB any chance of participating in the fight. But right now, the real question, the real problem is Haji on that Valentina, man. He is doing a lot of damage because, as Lafel mentioned, he went for the Clock of Destiny Lightning Truncheon and he has a Divine Glaive at this point. So Echo, they can't rest easy just because they take out OHEB. And look at that, engage though!
Oh, the battle for the purple buff! Will Oh My Venus fall for this? The answer is yes! Benny Cutie gets one. Oh, but he falls himself. Haji, the KDA machine is way too farmed up. He steals the wild charge, pushing back the remaining members of Echo.
I was a roaming, but I'm going for this mage role, this mid lane role, just because of how you can really change how you play with the hero just by adjusting the items. Because Haji going for a more bursty kind of build, even if you're like kind of tanky, you're kind of like not really all that tanky going up against Haji, building this like very aggressive, heavy damage kind of build on this Valentina.
The combination of the two different damages from Blacklist is something that Echo needs to try and deal with. Of course, with the more items being built, they can have the option of just stacking physical defense and then bursting down Haji, or vice versa, stacking up some magical defense and bursting down OHEB instead. So options are definitely still available, and with the goal being down to 2K, Echo can still definitely make a game-winning play.
Look at this Orca pod rotation. That's 5 members north of the Lord. Wise and Edward have eyes on them, but I'm not sure if they know how many members exactly. Concealed play, popped in. Can they find them? Haji as well. Steals a real manipulation. Numenon Blast as well. No one home answers back with a wild charge plus Black Dragon form. The full combo suffered by OHEB. He's the first casualty here. Benny Cutie as well. Haji is godlike. Someone stop the KDA machine. He gets 2 kills. Sanji falls. Now Sanford the only one left. Can Edward finish him? Sanford backing out. Oh My Venus looking for that stun. It's 3 members of Echo left. And Blacklist International, relentless. They want to take down Sanford. He's going to survive. There's a wave here. Can these 3 members of Blacklist finish the job? The answer still in the air. There's one big siege minion here. Numenon Blast set up by Oh My Venus. Wild charge by Haji. It's stolen. No more minions here. Yaoi very low. Can they finish him? Here's another wave up top. Carl Deasy doing his best. Tempest ablaze on. Blacklist International retreats.
Woo! What an intense defense from Echo.
Oh, wait, is it a defense? Sanford going in here, Leo.
I'm not done, says Sanford. Oh, but maybe I am. He's very low now. Stunned up by Oh My Venus. Pop with a concussive blast. Oh, maybe he shouldn't have done that. Now he's thinking twice.
I mean, like, here's the thing. We keep talking about there's a line between bravery and stupidity. I'm not saying it's stupid. It's just like, depends on the result. You can call it whatever you want. But speaking of which, Betty Cutie just picked up a very crucial item to make sure that he can survive in the fight. Speaking of which, Lord very low.
Edward with the bravest fighter, compromising Sanji, forcing out a real manipulation. Edward does get him down. Yaoi gets his recall cancelled by Oh My Venus with a blind Numenon Blast. In comes Carl Deasy, knocking him up. OHEB secures the Lord. Down goes Carl Deasy. This is MVP on MVP violence. Now Yaoi pushed out, and look, a split push down bottom by Benny Cutie. Not tonight, Benny, not tonight.
Not possible, and unfortunately Benny gets taken out, and so does Sanford. It's only Yaoi alone against the full roster of Blacklist International. This might be the end, Leo.
Oh, the writing's on the wall, 2-on-1. Yaoi can't do much here. He's gonna bite it as well. Blacklist International takes us to Game 5. I think it's due diligence that we also give the same love to Blacklist. Real quick, Blacklist! All right, never mind.
You know what? We need to talk tomorrow on ground to prep it up. But we are now going into the draft. Echo going against Blacklist. Diggy's been banned.
Your teams were relying on you.
You guilt
Or
tripping
actually,
the
please take over.
audience.
I need some time.
All right, so bans aside, it's a very familiar selection here. It's reminiscent of game number 3, actually. Kaja, Cho, as well as the 1-1, and you know, the Benedetta, Farsa, and Diggy. But now you can see that for Echo, it's really going a step in the right direction. Part of the issue that why they can't really melt down Wise on that Barat in the previous game is that they were on a Harith, right? Not exactly a hyper carry like a carry. So now that they have it first picked, now it's the time for Blacklist to adjust and try and find solutions for that. But of course, the Lolita has been picked up along with the Joy.
Sorry,
already,
I need more
already
time.
looking much better for either, right? Yeah, hydrate, stay hydrated. Already looking better for either team, and you could have sworn it was Blacklist in blue and Echo in red, but it's this pick right here that makes you say, oh, yo, that's definitely the M3 World Champions draft in that lineup. Solid first phase for Echo. Carry, Lolita, Joy, and then for Blacklist, this is as solid an Ube as it gets. Eve, Fredrin, and then Estes.
I'm pretty sure this pick and ban has been planned out so well, but the way, like where I'm standing, where I'm sitting, it looks like let's just draft like we don't care, because you already see the Lolita and you're picking up the Estes, so you know you're going to be clumped up together. So the Luminum Blast is a possibility in your future. So now, looking at the draft, for Blacklist International, you almost want to avoid team fights because having the Frederick, the Eve, the Estes, almost unbeatable. And then looking at Echo, having the carry, you really don't care how many armor that they have. And having the Joy, you also don't care who's in the back line. You're going to be able to disrupt that like nobody's business.
I think as long as Echo can provide ample protection for Benny QT right here, it doesn't matter if Oh My Venus sustains the rest of the team. In due time, they will fall to that high DPS in the late game. The concern right now is this is the first time I think we've seen a Yve in the hands of Blacklist. So we've seen Haji perform insanely on that Valentina, but now on the Yve, it's a different approach. But in the right hands, it's still also a huge threat, especially because that real-world manipulation can still be used very much to zone away Benny QT with that short range on the carry.
It's more of now Blacklist is showing Echo this early on that here is the heart of our strategy. How are you going to Orca pod through it? And they give Oheb a solid hero that can take care of himself. And laning-wise, I played this several times in rank. It's okay. I think Brody versus Carry is okay.
I actually like it. I really do, because having Oh My Venus with the S's could heal up the Brody, and then it just becomes a point of once the Brody has two items, a Malefic Roar, a Blade of Despair, if you want a cheaper alternative, then you can switch out the Blade of Despair with a Hunter Strike, and with all of that penetration and that raw physical attack, you should have enough damage to potentially kill Benny Cutie.
Teamfight wise as well, you have to just make sure that there's more left in the tank and you don't break up the Ube, because Sanford is so good at that. They have to watch out. Now they're going to wrap up their whole draft. Echo picks up the Lilia and the Grok.
It's Lilia and Grok, so not as much tanky heroes, but a lot of damage. And this reminds me of game number 3, where Echo were able to get Joy and Carry, and that mixed DPS, magical and physical, was just a lot to deal with. But I think Blacklist want to go head-to-head. They go with the same kind of combination, right? Long-range physical and magical, 3 solid front lines.
Now looking at the draft, when I see a Lilia, when I see a Grok, if they have the cojones, they could just be like, I'm going to clear my lane very fast. It's going to take a while for my minions to come back to my lane. I might as well just spend time in the jungle. I'm looking at the draft. There is the possibility, the opportunity to forget your laning phase and go to the jungle. We're going to see if that's going to happen.
By the looks of things, we're not even sure where that Joy is going, right? Carl Tizzy has, in the world stage, played a jungle Grok, so it'll come down to when we enter the Land of Dawn to confirm and to have expectations.
Now, we finally see the cheers, the roars, and now the final game of the day between Blacklist International going up against Echo.
Whew. Early on, let's take a look at that battle spell. It's going to be Sanford on that Joy, so the very present EXP laner with that Vengeance yet again. And it will be Carl Tizzy playing that Grok in the jungle. Let's see if this unorthodox pick really pays off. Note though, Edward is going with the sprint, first of all, and Haji has the Impure Rage, so he might just go for something a lot more aggressive.
And there we go. Now we got to confirm it. Now we have to solidify Benny Cutie is the first player to reach 100 kills in M4. And now Sanji, HP very, very low. Will he die?
Oh, he does. Haji draws first blood. And I'm not even sure where that purple buff went. But Sanford looking for more. Bumps into 4 members of Blacklist. A little too early, too soon for comfort. Blacklist now 500 gold ahead.
This is a Demon Slayer Grok in the jungle, so you have to question what exactly is the plan. Will he go for damage items and abuse the Grok's passive, or will he go full tank and try and be another counter-engage tool as Wise is just oppressively counter-jungling him?
Oh, Appraiser's Wrath set in. Wise already ahead. Very low now. Oh my goodness, needs to heal. King Wise. Oh, there's a Guardian's Barrier. Just lacking enough. 1 HP. Wise walks away.
Grandma, look at that 1 HP all across the board. And yeah, you talked about it, Carl Teasy here with the Grok. We're gonna look at his itemization, but I kind of feel like the proper way is to build like maybe at least a BOD to have a lot of armor on yourself, and then possibly for the Eve, a Radiant armor, and then after that, you know what, you can do whatever you want, because now, the bottom side of the map, Oheb, as well as Benny Cutie, looks like they're not gonna be too aggressive just yet.
And speaking of aggressive, we can see that Benny Cutie is now respecting, understands the stakes right here, has it purified just in case, but fight breaks out.
Oh, there's a setup. Numenor Blast on the 3, plus a wild charge. Caldini very low, doing the power of nature, and Wise still gets it. Oh, Echo's a little skittish, while Blacklist pushes them all out with a 4-man rotation. Blacklist owning the first 2 minutes.
Unfortunate, but Carl Teasy used his retribution a little bit early. Now looking at the items, looking at the Grok, just a Molten Essence to be sure that he can stay in the jungle, he can clear a little bit faster. But other than that, is there anything worth talking about here?
I guess for both mid laners, they want to spam spells out, so they're building towards the Enchanted Talisman, which will be a big factor here, because later on, there's going to be a lot of long-distance fights, but you can see that Haji actually has a lot more gold compared to Sanji because of that roam early on that did not pay off, so that's a bit unfortunate. But Blacklist here will be the one controlling the tempo, as Echo is just waiting for an opportunity, I guess, to go for a big fight in the mid game, perhaps once the turtle spawns.
Right now, looking at the emblem setup, so far, so good. Nothing too much to report. Sanford here, seeing Wise. Sanford putting pressure onto Haji. That doesn't look like he could commit too much, but Haji now, 50% HP gone. Down here at bottom, Yaoi wants to engage, but none is found.
Enough to push them away. Guardian's Barrier set up by Carl Teasy. Benny Cutie laying down the pinwheels. Haji spots him. There's some CC from Wise. Oh my Venus slowing them down. Healing up Haji. Echo knows this is not a good spot to disengage. Blacklist starting the Ube down here in the gold lane. What's Echo to do? Another Guardian's Barrier from Carl Teasy. Real world manipulation sent in by Haji. Wise confirms a kill onto Sanji. 2-0 so far, 2K ahead. Yaoi's in trouble. Void Crystal set in. Oheb going in behind enemy lines. Yaoi gets taken down. Appraiser's Wrath set in by Wise. Sanford trying to get something back here, dancing around these 3 members. Benny Cutie bites us as well. Edward finds his man. Sanford's in trouble. Oh, the humanity. Blacklist has dominated bottom lane and are now going to convert into turtle.
Echo just funneled 1 by 1 right here, and Cortese now left alone trying to go against 4 people yet again.
Oh, knocked up as well. Forces a wild charge on him. There's a grab by Edward. Can he deal enough damage? The answer gonna be yes. With the help of Haji, Numenor Blast from Yaoi, setting Edward where he needs to be. Wise still on the turtle. Real world manipulation here by Haji. Swiping away, tapping. Get this man down goes Sanji. Sanford does shut down Haji though. Too late for that turtle shield, and Oh My Venus could not heal Haji. The KDA machine suffers its first death.
Excuse me, Kada Machine. Right now, Oh My Venus 007, 100% kill participation. And it's very easy to do that when you're all clumped up together. 5-man, walk down, make sure we're gonna stay here and we're not gonna go home empty-handed. Looking at the items now, Oheb already having that Blade of Despair. That's a lot of damage.
It's big damn, like Nice likes to say. But Haji has rushed the Ice Queen's wand because he has a bit more mana regeneration from the Impure Wrath emblem. So this is why he went for it. It's a more aggressive choice that allows you to have a lot more crowd control, a lot more damage early on in the game. And you can see that it's paying off.
And now Wise is just pushing the advantage again. 3.5k ahead in 5 minutes, that's not easy to achieve, and he's got 4 members on top of him, plus a Numenor Blast canceled by Yaoi. Appraiser's Wrath, they oblige. Flickering on forward. Oheb finds one, but Yawi puts up the bulwark at the right time. Oheb in trouble. Oh my Venus heals him up. Carl Dizzy looking for one. Sanji finishes the job. The ult from the Estes. Oh my Venus, not enough to keep the Filipino sniper alive. Can they punish Carl Dizzy? Puts up a Guardian's Barrier. Sanji dropping the shadow energies. Carl Dizzy's gonna fall. Wise takes him down. Edward dancing around Sanford. A lot of damage put on this mid lane tier 1 throughout that skirmish.
Unfortunately for Blacklist though, throughout all this chaotic chain of events, Benny Cutie has not been able to secure a single kill as Sanford once again goes in aggressive.
Oh, they're not done underneath. Tier 1 in mid. Sanford is threatened with a split. Can Edward get him? Agent Zero wants his man. Sanford a little too fast. Oh, almost triggers the grab there before it timed out.
Okay, right now they're being a little bit too aggressive. They're not letting any talking points from any of us. 3.1k gold lead by Blacklist. And I can definitely see right now, looking at how they're moving around, there's a lot of macro plays like, okay, you go here, I go there. We need to secure the turtle. Oh, and we also got to fight. Everyone, make sure you know what you're going to do. But with that being said, Echo, right now it looks like they're being a little bit overwhelmed. Carteezy 0-2 and 0. Sanji 1-3 and 1. Blacklist, they're not waiting. They still want to push.
Oh, Sanford, you want to dance? Let's dance. Carl Dizzy push in the... What? That's not going to happen. Not like this, says Haji. That was a close call. I think even Echo wasn't ready for that fight. But wait, look! They were looking for a clapback from behind! Benny Cutie shuts down King Wise on my Venus as well, stunned by the Numenon Blast. And here's the punish. Pops the ult, gets the heal, but Benny Cutie still gets the kill. Carl Dizzy survives with 1 HP. OM gets a trade. 1 for 2. A little bit of breathing room for Echo, but it's not done. Sanford pops the Vengeance. A little too much damage there. Edward gets the kill. Yawi needs to run here. He can't stay for too long.
It's so chaotic, and sometimes the late game marksman can really value from this kind of exchange. But Benny Cutie, we saw that his golden staff was completed at about 7 minutes, so it's quite a bit late. And I think he's not as strong as we would expect him to be. But look at Oheb, so low.
That was so close, but right now Edward moving forward, putting a little bit of pressure onto Sanji. And now Echo, especially how Sanford is playing the Joy, I think they can still fight this one, which, side note, whoever named this hero Joy, I don't know, I kind of feel like it's Sly because this is more like a frustration than joy.
Exactly, it's kind of sarcasm, irony, whatever you want to call it. It's just not a joyful experience going up against this Joy.
It's an irony.
It's an irony.
Look at Haji though, that is pain, man. 2 of the ones completed. He has slow and he has that extra bit of DPS coming in, and any kind of tanky member, Carteezy as well as Yawi, will be suffering from that poke damage.
Oh, look at the setup by Yawi. Comes in, Flicker with the Numenon Blast, and Benny Cutie shredding Wise. He's gonna get out of here. Oh my Venus able to get in the heal. Haji goes down. Sanford, mission accomplished. That's 1 man down from Blacklist International, making this Lord a trivial pursuit for Blacklist. I'm not sure if they want this. They're still going. Oh my Venus healing up Wise. Blacklist not backing down.
That's a Joyford because right now Sanford with this Joyford is really putting too much pressure on the Blacklist because they want to stick together, but the more they stick together, the more they're absorbing a little bit too much damage. Now Carteezy is giving a lot of information. No one knows that Yawi is there. Blacklist right now, they're gonna get engaged.
They stun Oheb, and they're gonna knock him up with a wild charge. Benny Cutie gets the kill. Oh my Venus tried. They really did. And now Haji's gonna keep Sanford down. Pops the Vengeance. Another man advantage for Echo. But what do they make of it?
Ooh, it's just so difficult. They can't really fight without Oheb here. He's one of the core damage dealers in this early game on that early game hero, the Brody. He also provides a good deal of crowd control. So without him around, it's just so difficult for Blacklist to try and get a dominant control over the Lord Pit. And Echo, they realize this chance and they're trying to look for another pick.
Conceal.
They get the stun on the Edward. They collapse on him, forcing a split. Guardian's Barrier put up by Carteezy. This whole time Wise start up the Lord with the pull. It gets reset.
Yeah, right now, look at Sanford. Look at Benny Cutie. This is the one's gonna make the play happen. Edward dashing forward. Carteezy getting damage on Oheb. Fighting.
torn apart memory. Pop and Carl Deasy, and that gives Blacklist a clear go signal. Yawi with the Numenor Blast, only stunning Agent Zero. Oh my Venus with the ult, healing them up. Haji putting up a barrier. You are not going through the real world manipulation. We will take Lord. All this while, have pushed mid.
Blacklist wastes no time at all, getting the Lord, getting turrets in the same breath as well. The top side though, that's a huge wave that will take a turret down for Echo. So a silver lining for the Orcas, but they need to find a way to fight in a more reliable fashion.
Is it just me, or is Echo always setting up for a split push win?
I don't know, man, because right now, Blacklist, it looks like they got to have their cake and eat it too. If Echo is really setting up for this potential split, they gotta make sure that 3 or 4 members can hang on to the entire team of Blacklist that is coming down bottom. Looking like they're putting pressure. Yaoi's in front.
Real revelation set in by Haji, and there's a split already by Edward breaking them up. Yaoi gets pulled in. Lord still swinging away. There's a wild charge, plus a Numenor Blast, but Yaoi already bites it. Appraiser's Wrath. Set Caldeezy down low enough for Oheb to finish him off. That's 3v5. Blacklist International slowly but surely marching through this bottom lane inhibitor. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not looking good for Echo.
2 members down, they can see they're gonna try and defend their mid base turret, but Blacklist, they're moving so quick and they might still keep going.
Oh no, there's not enough AoE here. Another torn apart memory. Haji pops a real world manipulation. Down goes Sanford. Sanji's gonna fight it as well. Haji takes him down, and Blacklist International is the first Filipino team to confirm a grand finals spot.
Right now, looking in the room, looking inside the stage. This, again, the more we look at it, the more possibility, like, there is a chance. Back-to-back champions.
That will be a chance for Blacklist International to make history if it all plays out like you mentioned, Mafel. But man, it was a tough fight against Echo right here, but they come out on top through all the struggles, through all the adaptations, all the confusion. They eventually still reign supreme on the top in the first spot of the Grand Finals.
As the line from MPL Philippines Season 8 rap battle goes, most dominant team in the game, watch this. They are so close to, again, breaking even their own records. First team to win an M Series championship, coming back to the next year's World Championship. Now, they might even go back to back.
Yeah, and again, Wise is encouraging the crowd. It's like, yeah, come on, cheer for us. The dream is about to not be a dream, about to be reality. Because again, Blacklist now secured first slot in the Grand Finals. Like, imagine having a situation, the worst that can happen is number 2.
Was this a reverse sweep from Blacklist as well?
It was a back and forth.